If you walked in a room full of guitars and you knew for a fact that one of them was absolutely in tune and you knew which one, would that inspire you to grab it every single time? I have been wanting to do an Evertune bridge video for a very long time, so when the opportunity came up to do one, I wanted to have it installed in a not very common guitar that you see the Evertune bridge in. So let's check it out. Oh wow, pretty cool. Okay, so let's check it out. Look at that. Wow. You know what's great is, I don't know if they picked a super light guitar to do this on, a super light Gibson Les Paul. This is a studio, right? Yep, studio. The back looks great too. I like how the little card there, little card for the bridge. It's gotta be for the bridge. I always thought it was one big piece, but they must have came in a different way. We'll definitely be going in detail into this. Ready? In tune. So let's get into the geeky stuff, take a look at this guitar and this bridge and how it works. Something I want to point out, and we'll get to it in a little bit, is you're going to see some modification mark where they modified the original Les Paul Studio to put this bridge in. If you were to buy a production guitar with a Evertune bridge, you would not see any of this stuff. It's because this was heavily modified by Evertune, and we'll go into that a little bit later. Okay, so I think everybody understands how a tremolo works. We attach some springs to the bridge, and as we move the tremolo arm, we are bending the pitch of the string. However, an Evertune utilizes a floating saddle system, so each saddle is independent and it keeps a guitar in tune despite the changes in tension. The mechanical device maintains a constant state of tension despite the changes in temperature, humidity, or even the exertion of pressure on the string. In other words, the system is always trying to keep the string in tune no matter what you do. Another benefit of this system is that it keeps the guitar perfectly intonated, so your intonation is also dead on, and that's really noticeable when you're playing especially big chords. But don't worry, you can still bend strings with a couple adjustments. I'm going to show you that right now. So let's start with the adjustments. It comes with this nice tool, which is basically an Allen wrench. I know what you're thinking, what if I lose it? It's just an Allen wrench. So if you lose it, you'll use an Allen wrench. And what you can do is everything you can do with a normal bridge. So if you put the Allen wrench in the back, by turning it either clockwise or counterclockwise, you're going to let the saddle go forward or back for your intonation. So that's how you'll intonate the guitar. I have a video, I'll put it in the description down below. And if you want to set the height of each individual saddle, you would adjust it with this screw. One more adjustment, and it's going to be right here. And this is for tuning. So let me show you what I mean by that. I want to show you with actually taking a string out and putting a new string in. It works super easy. You're just going to go ahead and run the string through the back, just like a normal guitar. Okay. Once you've run the string through the saddle, you're going to go ahead and just run it through the tuning key. And then once you run the string through and you wrap it on the tuning key, what you're going to notice is the string is totally loose. Okay. You just tune it up to pitch. And you notice nothing's happening. Look, listen to the pitch, or you can watch the tuner. Nothing. So this is what's called zone 2. So you start in zone 1 on the bridge. You don't really need to understand that. Just understand that the string is loose. Zone 2 means now the guitar is basically in tune and it will not bend, it will stay perfectly in tune. And if you want to fine tune it, now you're going to take your Allen wrench, put it right here on the saddle. And fine tune it perfectly. That's how you put it in tune. Now, what if you go, well, I don't want a string that doesn't bend. Well, all you have to do, you don't have to calibrate anything, reset the mechanics, none of that stuff. You're just going to go ahead, turn this tuning key some more, but use your ear or watch the tuner. Here it changed pitch, went to F. Okay. All you want to do is back it off a little bit. And now you can hear it bend. And again, if you want to fine tune that, you can use it again to fine tune it right here. But like I said, because each saddle is individual, their own little bridge, you could do it to where you can bend the first 3 strings and then the low 3 strings will not bend to pitch. Now, one of the things about this bridge that I want to dispel right now is that you can't change the gauge of the string or the tunings. That's not true. You don't have to have any special tools. You don't have to send it to anyone. You can do all of that very easily. What I want to show you here is the string tension gauge calculator that's available for free on the Evertune website. And let me show you what you can do with this very same guitar without having to do anything. So this Gibson Les Paul is 24 3/4 scale length. So according to the calculator, it says that if we use a 42 gauge low E string, we need the standard tension saddle. That is what is in this guitar right now. It's what it came from the factory as. What if we want to go ahead and go to a 10 gauge set, which would make this a 46 gauge string? And according to this, it is still the same standard tension saddle. What if you want to drop D? Let's go ahead and drop D, and you still are going to use the standard tension saddle. In other words, you can drop D on this. What if you decide to go to a 52 gauge string? So let's say you want to use 11 to 52. So let's calculate this standard tension saddle. What happens if you are a 60 gauge string and you want to be tuned to standard? And now it's a custom high tension saddle. So that would have to be changed out. You're going to be able to do a lot of different string gauges and a lot of different tunings with this guitar without changing anything. There is some limitations, but most of those limitations are extreme. So you need to use this calculator if you have any questions. You can do that before you ever buy an Evertune. Now you have a basic understanding of the bridge. Let's take a look at what's inside. So obviously these are modifications that they made. This is not what you would normally see on a Les Paul. A normal Les Paul Studio would have no backplates at all. So let's go ahead and take them off. Now looking, you can see this is pretty involved. You have this plate here. This is the ground of the bridge. The bridge has to be grounded. I think it's really cool that they've adapted this. See, in the past, they were always putting one big route right here. But you can see now they've learned to kind of run the bridge through the front and then feed it through here and not have to take out so much wood and make it look a little nicer and cleaner. This is from the Gibson being weight relieved. That's what that hole is, by the way. They didn't do that. So you know, that's from the chambering. And then you can see they use the D'Addario strings. This is a great time to point out that the springs don't make any noise like a normal tremolo, so there's no reverberation. The guitar sounds really tight, like a hardtail would. The mechanics here, what's happening is, these aren't tuning keys anymore. These are tension adjustments. That's how you think about this. So we talked about the upsides. In other words, what do you get? Well, you get tuning stability beyond all insanity. I mean, essentially this guitar can stay in tune to the point where you can't even do vibrato. It will just stay perfectly in tune. For rhythm players, that's just amazing. What are the downsides? Well, it's pretty easy. It's a heavy bridge, it's big, and especially if it's been installed aftermarket, it's there forever. You can't go back. You can't put that material back. So it's a permanent modification. Another thing I want to point out is that the nut on this guitar was cut perfect. You can see here, it looks great. We kind of go to the side. We check to see how the slots were cut. Fantastic. Everything on this guitar is set up perfectly, but keep in mind, this was done by Evertune. We kind of expect it to be great. That wasn't something we were worried about today. Now, this is what I said I would talk about. To put this bridge on this Les Paul, on a normal Les Paul Studio, you would have the bridge and a tailpiece. So this replaces all that. And of course, it's not wide enough to hide things. So what they did, because they had to cut that piece out, they cut the piece out, they remove some material, and they go ahead and cap those holes as best they can. And again, nothing over here. So you see something there. You see that. You see that. This makes you crazy. Don't do this. Just buy an ESP Eclipse or something like that. A Les Paul style with this bridge already installed where it was installed factory fresh. This bridge was put aftermarket on this Les Paul. Evertune installed this bridge. So there's just no way around that. They will tell you on their website if they're going to have to do some stuff like this. They're upfront about it. They let you know ahead of time. Another thing is a perfect time to tell you, if you want to give the video a like, I love doing these videos except for in the summertime. It's 103 in the shop because I can't run AC when I'm doing the video. So, woo! Now looking at prices, you can see that a Gibson Les Paul Studio is about $1,700 right now, and if you want to buy one from Evertune with this bridge in it, it's $2,000, so it's $300 more, still includes a gig bag. However, they have tons of guitars that you can find on their website, and some do have to have modifications and some don't. Looking at this Paul Reed Smith, you can see here, it had to be modified, so you would notice that there's an aftermarket modification. However, some of these guitars don't have obvious modification marks, and you can talk to Evertune about that. You also can send your own guitar to Evertune to have have installed. Or like I said, you can buy a guitar from a manufacturer who's already done it from scratch, so it'll be original and look perfect. So I wanted to show you how heavy the guitar is. The guitar is 8.5 pounds with this bridge, so you can tell this did not make this Les Paul super heavy. After they removed some of the wood and added the bridge, it added about 9 ounces to the guitar. If the weight of this bridge is a concern to you, one recommendation I have for you is to go to sweetwater.com and check out all of the Evertune bridges on the ESPs and other guitars they have and look at their overall weight. Before we get into the sound samples, what I want to talk about is, from a playability standpoint, this plays fantastic. I give it a 10 out of 10. This tuning stability is just fun as hell. But sound-wise, let's see if it sounds different. Let's go ahead and play it and see if we notice it doesn't sound less polished anymore. This will be interesting because there's an instinct I have to constantly like go for the tuners, and you don't have to. Just always in tune. I can see where if you get into this, if you get into the Evertune system, I can see where every guitar starts becoming a headache for you. Because I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking what I thought, which is, yeah, I mean, I can tune up my guitar and it just stays in tune. But it's not about it staying in tune. It's about it's always in tune, no matter what. I mean, it's just in tune. So let's go ahead and get playing. Let's start with the 65 Deluxe Reverb, mic'd up with an SM57. We're running the neck pickup. I mean, I'm not detecting any kind of like, oh, this doesn't sound like a Gibson anymore sounds. And even when you coil split, bridge, and of course the middle. You know, so let's just be clear, what am I listening for? I'm listening for differences in what I notice about an average Les Paul. Is the sustain somehow dampened? And it's not. I mean, it's... it's just great. Sounds great. All right, I've switched amps to the Bad Cat Black Cat. Okay, so how about some final thoughts? Since this guitar has been sitting in the studio, I have grabbed it every time over every other Gibson in the room. I can't tell you that I think it sounds better than the other Les Pauls I have, and that has to do with the pickups and, you know, the features. Obviously, the pickups and the features on some of my other Gibsons are really nice. But it's just the idea of knowing that when you grab it, you know it's going to be in tune. I just really find that appealing. And I knew I would like it, but I didn't realize how much so. And to the point where when you walk in a room, I want to pose this question to you. If you walked in a room full of guitars and you knew for a fact that one of them was absolutely in tune and you knew which one, would that inspire you to grab it every single time? That's what happened to me. Every time I walked in this room, even though I knew some of these guitars are always in tune, I don't know why, the idea that I know for a fact that this guitar sitting was absolutely in tune just made me want to reach for it that much more. It just really appealed to me. And then it got me thinking, like, what do we value, right? Obviously we value the neck, how a guitar feels, how comfortable it is, how it sounds. But the idea that a guitar is always perfect and ready to play is really appealing. It's almost relaxing, right? You don't really put a lot of thought into it, but sometimes you pick up a guitar and you have to make a quick couple little turns on the tuning keys, and that's not a problem. You're so used to it. But I think if you do want a guitar and you want to just think like that, like, I just want this Evertune guitar, this guitar that just always is in tune, it's always ready to go, I think there's an appeal to that. Would I put it in a Gibson Les Paul? I think I would rather have an Evertune bridge and an ESP or LTD style clips. There's just certain things I like about that style Les Paul over this Les Paul, and there's just something about this bridge and this kind of like that just all working out. So I am interested in having an Evertune style bridge in a different kind of guitar because of the fact that I do want a guitar now that is so effortless, to the idea when you effort, like you're not putting any thought into it. You just grab it, you know it's ready to go. I want to thank not only you guys for putting this on my radar, but the Evertune guys for sending out the guitar as a loaner and stuff and sponsoring the video and stuff, because it takes a while to do these videos. I put a lot of time in them, and so companies have to give up these instruments for a long period of time, and they have to, so it's a pretty good investment for these guys. So I want to thank them for that. If you're interested in checking out their website, I will put a link down below, also with a link to some other places where you can buy guitars with Evertune if you want to look at them and maybe learn a little bit more. I hope this inspires you to learn more about this system. I hope you guys learned something in the video. I hope you had some fun. And as always, I want to thank you so much for your time. Till the next time, know your gear.